Hello, y'all. I'm making another video. As I said, I've been coming on and on. I guess today I just wanted to touch upon kind of what's been going on for me. Like I said, I always give updates of how I feel the energy of life is taking me. And I also wanted to touch upon maybe about love in general. Like the real, amour that people are at least for those of us that are going through these trials and tribulations, you start to realize that there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with it in one way, shape, or form. For me, it was losing my family, in a sense, the idea of family. This elusive or illusion matrix was blanketing the world, and as a result, a lot of us lost partners. So as a result of that, my once very sweet partner became someone I couldn't even recognize anymore. What I mean by illusion matrix, for those of you that don't understand what's going on, I mean, like, we've been bamboozled for years now with all types of crap. I mean, like, first it was like just watching what happened in the States, major things have happened in the world that have never happened, so to speak, like cataclysms that haven't happened. We're at an age where certain planets are aligning that haven't happened in a long time. We're at a place where there's this elusive behavior that's being allowed on every platform, on every plane of existence, at least in this 3D existence. And now with this wave of attack against those that are being turned on, the indigos, the angels, the 144, it's not just them, it's any empaths, like empaths in general. We're going through this illusion world. Illusion world is not what I'm trying to say. Okay, what I mean by illusion, let's keep it basic. I'll use my example, like what just happened like a couple days ago. I haven't been talking to my partner at all. He never shows face. He did a catastrophe and a half and spun his way out of my life, and I've been very protective and curt with everything. So I was accused of being on a video in a place that I've never attended, and being threatened with a restraining order to further push us away. If that's not energetic push away to an idiocy that is like fallacy, I don't want to use that word. It's like an idiocy. It's like there's like this sheet of like stupid, like, I don't want to even say stupidity. It's an illusion. It's all an illusion. I was never there. It never happened. There's no proof. He can try to do the restraining order, but I really feel like it's my energetic push that's now having a reciprocal effect on him for his illusion to continue that I'm the villain in his story. So this is what I mean by illusion. It's like you being in your power as any of the above, empath, chosen, angel, starseed, whatever it is, you're being, taken at, like, come after with the most ridiculous things that don't even exist by any stretch of the imagination. But we started seeing these things happen in the last years. Like, would I ever think the White House would get attacked in my lifetime? I'm not in, the 1700s. There isn't civil war breaking out, but in this day and age, it did happen. Like, there's been so many changes. Like, for example, right now, like I've talked about in my other videos about, the Bible, the end of the Bible, explaining that stuff's popping off. Again, not a religious thing, just like, let's say you read a comic book and the end of the comic book was exactly like what's going on now and told you, like, hey, this is where you're headed to get to the end of the book, and this is where you are because it's happening right now. So, like, for example, like Russia talking to China. back to verse 16, you know, talking about like the Euphrates River drying up and then the two kings coming together from the east. It's like this stuff is happening. So for those of us that are, you know, coming on and exploring the world in this new situation, you know, narcissists, those that are just victimizing complete situations and fabricating things that don't even exist. It's a real thing. I'm definitely going through it, and so are other people I know of, like online, and as they came on, were being persecuted the moment they like came off the hop. So this now brings me to love, because I started thinking about this because I'm like, you know, in my last video, I'm like, the only man I want to see is JC. And that's kind of a true thing. Like, I started thinking about like my entire life. I was never successful. I'm successful in almost anything I touch. Or I'm not trying to be arrogant. I think everyone has this capability, and you know what I'm talking about. Like, if you really put your mind to something and you break it up into pieces and you fulfill those pieces, you will end up with a whole. So anyone can do that. One foot in front of the other. I was always very good at that. Okay. So when it came to love, not so much. I could always read people. I could always see their soul. Like, even if they were the nastiest person in the world, I could still see their inner child. I could still see their love, their true child self. So it's like I would always bring that out of someone, and they could feel free around me. And I was, you know, I think that's why like a lot of people resonated with me. But it also put me into a lot of problems with a lot of egotistical people, or who turn egotistical because they either don't believe I am who I say I am. Most of them think my love is imaginary, like it's not really happening. Just saying, like, that's a real thing. Because they end up turning on you because they think that the rug is going to come out, you know, from under them somewhere. So they end up going, this love is crazy. I got to get out of here. And so I have not been lucky in love at all my entire existence. And it makes me think, like, for those of us that are we only allowed to maybe try to dip our toe into the proverbial pond of love with someone who is also empathic, or someone who is also, like, if you're a starseed, you're with the starseeds, like, you end up needing to band with those because they're the only ones that will see your light, not get scared, and, like, grow with you. I don't know. But I'm seeing all these signs and symbols and things coming to life. It's everywhere I go. And I feel like when I think about if all of us are being disbanded, or a big, huge number of us are being disbanded by loved ones and relationships, it's to kind of sequester us in a way, to feel that we are less than, because ultimately in all of history and everything else, the goal is to be two, becoming one. So when you disband all these angelics or starseed combinations, and you break them using, you know, dark level manipulation and etc., 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 that's a win for that side, right? Because they managed to get this person to fall, so scoop them out. That leaves the other part of the two needing to carry in, you know, make all those plates dance all at the same time. And you end up having to try to harbor both masculine and feminine divinity to at least attract some type of balance, right? And balance is key, like in this situation, because like I said about transmuting, you need to balance. You have to do your shadow work. So for some of us that are like, what is shadow work? I'll give you one fine example. Like I said about it being empathic, right? And how I wear my heart on my sleeve and things like that. In a world where that is kind of like felt that it's weak, right? That is actually not true. Just because I wear my heart on my sleeve does not make me weak. It actually makes me vulnerable. And vulnerability is actually a very strong stance because most people are terrified of being vulnerable. That's a fact. So if you're able to go through life being vulnerable, you're actually embracing that supposed negative quality that is not a negative quality at all. It's actually a power and a strength. So that's one example of shadow work. We all have these things that we call faults. You know, like for a long time, I martyred myself to people because I was telling myself like, oh, this is my burden to carry. Not really, but really what it was that I was strong enough to carry it. That's the takeaway from that. That's another shadow work situation. Because it's like, once you realize like, wow, I'm kind of strong. I can freaking do a lot of stuff. I can handle a lot of stuff. That's the reciprocal thinking of that. So it's like, yeah, slide it to the other side. So shadow work is very necessary. And you're going to end up doing a lot of it because you just lost someone important from your family or your other half. So for those of you that feel like you're being abandoned, we're being asked to hermit a bit. I've been hermiting for time, but to really sit down and like do this work because we have to get through something that wasn't even in our, I mean, it was in our path, right? But we didn't know it was coming. Like, just showed up and it's like, bam, there you go. You lost a bunch of people and you lost this and, you know, do it. But that's what we came here for. And that's why I said it's like shadow work is imperative because you have to realize that you're strong enough to do it. And that's why you end up doing it alone. But I do wonder if like empaths can only be with empaths, you know, Reikis can only be with Reikis, or how that whole thing works, because I feel like whoever I ever intercede with, and the thing is like, as the type of soul I am, I like crave love. Like I love love, and I'm always trying to give love and get love and love and love. So I've never really, I mean, I've been in very few love relationships. I actually suck at flirting and all that, so it's been tough. I've always been the friend, so it's you know, rightfully so. But I don't even know. Like, I feel like in my lifetime I met different people, empaths, etc. Like myself, like a chosen one, I think I've only met one a long time ago. And I fumbled that, like, completely. Because I was in my, like, partying South Node style at that point. And this person was, like, marching on to infinity and beyond. And I was just, like, not at the right place at the right time type of thing. But at least I knew, like, there was more of us, you know. And I would like to meet more of us. Like, I'm sure maybe I've met one or two more, like, in travels. But, like, actually, like, no, for sure, one. But that's the thing. It's like, are we supposed to carry this solo for now, and then, you know, down the road we can connect our soul families and be with our soul families and just like be with people like each other? Because it's like out here with all these jagaloons, like, I'm scared sometimes. I'm not a fearful person. Like, that's not what I mean. It's like, I'm actually just trying to make a joke. But it's like, you go out and these people, oh my God. Besides, like, all these, like, it seems like heartless drones walking around. Some even look faintly robotic. Some are just, like, wayward souls that are just so old, but asked to be tortured in this lifetime, I think. Because they're just so wayward, and there's so many druggies, too, that are just... And I think there's a lot of angelics that are druggies that are... I see that sometimes, too. That's sad. But even then, their choice, maybe that's how they wanted to roll. But as we're coming together and uniting, what does that really mean? Like, does that mean we can only be with each other because the whole world looks like it's taking a deep dive off of La La Land? It's like I can barely have conversations with people. It's like I try my best to integrate because I know that I'm a soul that needs to like go out and give and radiate and do all that. And I have people in my neighborhood I love to death and I have that normal relationship with. But it's like my day to day, like just doing whatever. The vibe's so different. It's like so different, but in a good way. Like, but it's like, I've always got to be protected. I've always got to feel like on guard in a sense. So it's like very trying. And if I'm sure most of you are like that. Like, I don't think I'm here to be like a prophet. I think I'm here to be a sympathizer, like more than anything. Like I'm trudging through the mud with all of you and like saying we can do this. 'Cause like it's really amazing how this is all playing out. Like if people haven't figured out, well, I mean, I knew it was a hologram from a long time ago, like 4 years old. But for a lot of us that don't, it's like the whole rhetoric seems like a carnival show. Like I feel like I'm at the exhibition. You know, like here comes the bearded lady and everyone's like, oh, okay. Here comes the five-legged man. And they're like, oh, okay. Like nothing's phasing anyone. I'm like, what's it gonna take? You know, like, what's it gonna take? But I'm sure a lot of you will feel this way. And like I said, I'm not doing any tarot or any poetry today. It was more of a human heart-to-heart conversation. So, like, I just got fed all that bullshit yesterday. How I was supposedly somewhere that I've never been or stepped foot into. And I was just like, what world am I living in where people are just like losing it, you know? They're losing it. Like, and you just feel like this pillar of sanity that's just walking around looking for other sane people. Like, hey, are you sane or you bit? Like, you're walking around going like, who's the zombie here? Metaphorical. There are no zombies right now. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you're just searching for, like, another kindred spirit, you know? So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Watching out for China and Russia. See, I still don't get it. Like, if all of this is going to happen so soon, like, how does Jesus play? Or maybe he's going to save us after all of this stuff? I have no idea. Like, I don't know how we would make it to 7 years, even 10. For that matter, the way things are going. But again, it's not for me. I'm not the designer. The designer is kick-ass. The designer is like eloquent and amazing to watch unfold. So I'm asking ridiculous questions, but I guess it's just because like getting to the point where I'm like, we need a miracle. Like, we need a miracle, and I feel like it's coming. It's like on the tips of my toes. It's on the tips of my fingers. It's like I feel like spring's really sprung, you know? So thanks for having me again. And if you like what I'm doing or saying, subscribe. I think we all need to unite one way or another, and you know, sending energy to me through subscription is fantastic because I'm just trying to get out there, and just like anyone else, I am going to keep coming on, I think, and doing more readings. You know what? That might be something I want to transition into too. Since I'm trying to learn how to read, I'm like, maybe in the next ones I can ask for names and start reading what comes to me out on the waves, the vibrates, the frequencies. Maybe doing a reading once a week and showcasing it, and then seeing if the person resonates with what I'm saying. I don't know. Something that has been going around in my head, you know. How better to get better at something than to do it, right? So that's it. I just want to say I love you all, and thanks for letting me rant. I love you. Bye.